Hey guys, and welcome back to Fringe Friday. I am Carmen, and today we are going to be watching season 2, episode 20 of Fringe, which my heart is not ready for at all. Last episode, the inevitable happened that I had sort of been steeling myself for since we found out the truth in season 1, and Peter now knows that Walter took him from the other dimension, the other side, the world B, as I call it, and he left. I am really nervous going into this episode because I think that the atmosphere and just the dynamic of everything has to change going forward, right? I don't even know if Peter's going to be in this episode at all. So that's already going to be a shifted dynamic. I worry for how Walter is going to handle this because it's literally his worst fear come to life. I worry for Peter because I can't imagine what sort of emotional roller coaster and journey that you would be on finding this out. I worry for our little found family, and I'm just worried, right, about what's going to happen in this episode. Probably tears, probably trauma, probably for sure the aftermath of trauma and sort of trying to pick up the pieces and deal with it. So yeah, I'm just rambling at this point because I'm really scared to press play, but I'm just gonna have to press play, and I have you guys with me. So as Dean Winchester would say, let's just hold hands and sail off this cliff together. And if you get the reference, well, Dean was making it's a double reference. Anyway, we're just gonna watch it. We're starting with Walter. We always start with like a weird case thing though. Oh, is he doing drugs? He's trying to cope with losing Peter. Oh, he's just labeling everything.
You've been smoking marijuana.
It's a hybrid of chronic supernova and Afghani Kush. Brown Betty.
Walter.
Don't hit me in the feels. Astrid,
I know
don't do
how
it.
you're feeling.
It's important to take control of one's life.
Walter. Peter is going to come back.
I hope so.
He will come back.
The snack machine stole the dollar you gave me. Hi, Astrid. Hi, Uncle Walter.
Oh, Uncle Walter? I don't know why they got me.
Who's that? Be careful, Stella.
Hi, Cal.
I know. Why don't you tell me a story?
I'm not very good at stories.
Didn't you used to tell stories to Peter?
I'm sure Mrs. Bishop did, but no, I never told Peter stories. I was always too busy.
Oh.
My mother, she loved detective stories. Oh, and musicals. She often would dress me up to play parts in plays at school. I was roughed up quite a lot as a child.
Aww.
I think that Ella would really, really enjoy a story.
Once upon a time.
Is this gonna be like a flashback episode?
Once upon a time, there was an accomplished detective, except that she had decided to retire, pack it in, because there was one mystery she could not solve.
She looks amazing. I love this already. I'm obsessed. She looks stunning.
My name is Rachel. I'm sorry to just show up like this. My boyfriend, he's gone missing. He got in over his head to a gambler, a guy named Big Eddie. I'm afraid something bad may have happened to him.
She's gonna find Peter, right?
We met only a few weeks ago, but it was love at first sight.
Something happens and I'm head over heels.
Hey, I'm loving it.
And I'm head over heels.
What those school kids must have done to you.
And what's his name?
Peter
Peter.
Bishop.
Fucking knew it. Ah, he looks amazing too.
My mom doesn't love Peter.
Of course not. It's just a story. Where were we?
She just took the case.
Oh, yes.
I love this so much.
This is where things might get a bit frightening. I'm not sure you'd want me to go on.
Does it have to do with Peter?
Maybe.
Then she wants it to go on.
Far on the other side of town, a young man had gone into hiding because he had in his possession a very special item. A heart.
Weird. You guys, I'm so in on this episode. Like, I love it. I love it. The noir feel, the outfits, the old-timey, like, I love it.
Detective Dunham knew some high people.
She was a
in
maid
low
for
places.
fucking period pieces. She, like, I want her to dress like this all the time. I am obsessed. Whew, sorry. Is that his actual voice? He sounds amazing.
Hello, Lieutenant Broyles.
Also obsessed with him. He looks amazing.
I need to ask a favor.
Must be a good one if you're coming to me.
Well, not as good a favor as pretending 6 years ago I didn't see a cop on the beat plan evidence to get a promotion.
What is it?
Missing person.
Never seen him.
What about this? Does it mean anything to you?
It's a company logo. Massive Dynamic. Ever heard of him?
Yeah?
Peter Bishop is a con man with many talents and many identities. But I can tell you one thing. If he's pretending to love this woman, he must be using her somehow. He's dangerous.
Why do I just don't trust her in any iteration of the world.
Hi, this is Olivia Dunham. I need to talk to you. It's about Peter Bishop. Rachel?
Help me, Miss Dunham.
Rachel!
What's happening? Is she dead? Walter is telling this child a story and where her mother dies. I'm just saying.
That's not how it goes. She can't be dead.
Why not?
Probably because it's her mother, Walter.
Oh, that's not it. Because that's not how stories work. She's in love. True love. She can't die.
I like how this kid's like not important.
Things are not as they seem.
She was an actress. Real name wasn't even Rachel, it was Kelsey. I'm serious, Dunham. Time to leave things to the big boys.
Okay, you win.
She is lying. True. Oh.
So you're saying that you hired her to hire me to find Peter Bishop. Why didn't you come to me yourself?
Oh, I love it so much.
You only take cases where someone has lost their heart to love. I used her to get your attention. I never meant for her to be harmed.
Jean, can I get a... Why does she look like a twister board?
They stole something from me. The most important invention.
The heart thing?
my latest project, Singing Corpses.
2, 3, 4. Who can take a sunrise? Who can take a sunrise? Sprinkle it with dew.
No. No. That one is a no. Walter.
He invented hugs?
Oh, yes, my dear. He invented everything that is wonderful in the world. A heart.
What makes it so special?
Put simply, it's a power source, but it is capable of many wondrous things.
So he...
I was kept alive by this glass heart. Nights ago, someone slipped into my room and stole it while I was asleep. If I don't get my heart back, I'll die.
You think Peter Bishop stole your heart?
Peter stole his heart.
She's gonna help him, right?
Of course. But first, she needed to rehire her assistant, Esther Ficklesworth.
Plenty of experience with all kinds of people. I'm sure that would come in handy, right? I mean,
Oh, she looks gorgeous too.
I really need this job. Please, God, I need this job.
Is that her singing too? Like, she's like, all right, bye.
New case. I need you.
You sent me packing this morning and you owe me 6 months back pay. Done it?
Drop what you're investigating.
The Observer! Ah. What the hell?
Don't stick your heart out where it doesn't belong.
I mean, somewhere in the universe there's gotta be a guy who'll keep me warm when I'm cold, feed me when I'm hungry, and maybe, on occasion, take me dancing.
His name's Peter.
What kind of weapon did you say he used?
Well, nothing that I'd ever seen before. It was like some kind of laser.
Yeah, the patent on this device was taken out last year. Patented by this whiz-bang tech company out of Manhattan.
Massive
Wish
dynamic.
I could work somewhere like that.
We call them the Watchers.
The Watchers.
You should know what you're getting into, Miss Dunham.
She was lying.
Who?
Nina Sharp. She was lying, wasn't she?
What makes you think that?
I don't know. I just don't trust her.
Smart kid.
girl.
In the past few years, no one has seen him. No press conferences, no public appearances.
Okay, so what's that got to do with Peter Bishop?
I don't know.
It's very close to, if the address had been 1701, I'm just saying.
Of course, no one can hear us.
I can hear you.
Well done, Nina. I knew you could do it. By utilizing the heart's power, we'll be able to create a stable door between universes.
And after all this time, we can finally be together again.
I know, my love.
That was Peter, I think.
Excuse me. She is awake.
No, it's the Observer.
Now, you've given me no choice.
Oh, so you're gonna send me somewhere far away where I won't be able to tell anybody what you want to do with that glass heart?
Not quite.
Is Peter gonna rescue her? Right? Surely that's what's gonna happen. Interesting that in Walter's story, the Observer is working for Nina Sharp, when I don't think that he actually works for anybody. Except for whoever all the Observers work for. I was gonna say water.
I heard you were looking for me.
This is what I wanted. The romantic music playing. He's figured it out.
Feeling better?
Do you mean is a hot shower better than drowning in a pine coffin? Much. What is it?
You hungry? You like jazz?
Jazz?
You can tell a lot about a person from the music they listen to, and whether or not they dance.
Well, jazz, not so much, but dancing? Sure.
Well, I guess we're opposites. I hate to dance.
Ah.
I'd take you, though.
You would?
Of course he would.
Why's that?
I don't know, it seems like it'd be fun. You look like a good dancer.
I ship this so much, you guys. Huh, they're giving me what I want.
Dr. Walter Bishop hired me. I know you took his glass heart.
Is that what he told you? That I stole his heart? What else did Walter Bishop tell you?
That without his heart he would die, and that all the good he does for this world would die with him.
Well, I guess I'm not the only one who's been given false information. 147 pins. Each one represents a child injured by Walter Bishop. But what he didn't tell you is where his ideas come from. They come from the dreams of children.
Okay.
He steals children's dreams, and he replaces them with nightmares. That's what this is. A pattern of destruction, of damaged kids, shattered innocence.
Interesting.
I was born with it, and I was willing to give it to Walter because of all the good he's done. I thought that his life was so much more valuable than mine until I learned the truth. Walter Bishop isn't responsible for all the goodness in the world, but he is responsible for so much evil.
It's really interesting because this is a projection of Walter's own thoughts and feelings and how he thinks that Peter is thinking and feeling, you know? Damn, don't punch Olivia, you bitch.
I knew you were a good dancer.
They took his heart.
I need your help, Olivia. I'm dying. You ever play that game Operation?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like that, except in reverse. You gotta put those batteries into my chest. But whatever you do, don't touch the nerve endings.
And what if I do?
Don't.
I'd be like, can you specify, please, what the nerve endings look like? Thank you. 'Cause
You're gonna be fine. So what made you want to be a detective?
I guess that I just always knew what it was I was meant to do.
And what's that?
To care for people.
Then who cares for you?
$1 million question, isn't it?
It must be nice to know who you are, to know your place in the world. I thought I knew who I was, but I was wrong.
No, don't fucking, no. I'm not here for this.
Peter.
No.
Peter? Please, Peter.
Wake up, bitch.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
Why is she gonna sing that song?
I've needed so long. I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it's hurt me before.
Just wake up.
I'm not alone anymore.
Thank you.
How did you know it was me?
The device, the one that came through the wall, I knew that I had seen it someplace before.
He made himself the bad guy.
I can change, you'll see. I can make up for all the harm I've done. Peter, please. Who can take a sunrise? The Candyman can. Peter, please.
It's too late, Walter. There's some things you can't undo.
I mean, it makes sense that in his story, that's how he feels, right? Because Peter's still gone and he doesn't think he'll ever forgive him.
That's not a proper ending. Don't you know, all good stories start with once upon a time, and they end with happily ever after. You don't know how to tell stories. I'll tell you how the story ends.
I can change. I can fix the damage I've done. Please give me another chance.
And Peter looked inside Walter's eyes and realized there was still goodness inside him. So Peter took his special heart, and with all his might, he split it in two.
Why is this child
The
doing
heart was
this?
so magical that it still worked.
Ella? They're gonna dance? I like Ella's version.
And together they made goodness and lived happily ever after. The end. We played games kind of badly. Then Uncle Walter told me a story.
I'm sorry, Walter, no luck.
His ending wasn't very good. It was sad, but I fixed it for him.
Yes, my dear, you were right. Yours was a proper ending. A much better ending indeed.
I'm fine. I did not expect to get up all up in my feels. What you doing there, observer?
The boy has not returned, and I do not believe Dr. Bishop remembers my warning. Yes, I am concerned, too.
Fuck, I don't remember your warning either. What was his... What did I forget? I shouldn't have taken that time off. Damn it. Wow, what an episode that was. I really loved it. I loved the noir kind of steampunk sort of feel to it, where we have like this old detective sort of mystery, and then also like infused with new technologies and everything, kind of like steampunk, or pretty much, yeah, steampunk. But there was also noir in it. I don't know, I'm over explaining. Anyway, I really loved the feel of all of it together, mixed with like a musical. I was obsessed. I love musicals. I love science fiction. I loved this episode. I absolutely fucking loved this episode. I don't know what the general consensus of this episode it was with the fandom. Like, I feel like it should be a universally like adored episode, but I guess I'll see when people comment on it later. But yeah, it was a really fun sort of little jaunt, I guess, like away from how intense and emotional the last few episodes have been. Obviously, this one got very intense and emotional at the end, for me at least. I'm sure a lot of people. But I think that this episode was kind of a nice, like I said, just fun, good time. And I love that it's under the guise of telling Ella this story, and I love Ella's happy ending at the end. But yeah, I think it's a really fun, interesting sort of peek into how Walter is thinking and feeling about things as well, because the entire story is told from Walter's point of view, right? So everything that we are seeing from Olivia and Peter and his shipping of them, which we already knew, but I am so on board that Walter is on our little ship train. He's the fucking captain, and you know, I love that so much. But it's just really cool to see everything that, or all of the characters kind of portrayed the way that they are, but also the way that Walter sees them and understands them. Olivia talking to Peter and saying that she always knew she wanted to be a detective because it was, her destiny to care for people. And I think that that is true of Olivia as a character, but I think it's also true that that's the way that Walter sees her, as this very caring and loving person because of who she has become to him in his life. And I think that he ships Olivia and Peter because he thinks that she would be good for Peter. She cares, she's loving, she's tough and badass, and she doesn't take shit from anybody. But she also, like I said, is very kind and considerate and beautiful, and just like she's everything that you would want in a daughter-in-law, right? So I think that it's just fun to see all of these characters from Walter's point of view, and fun to see Walter from Walter's point of view, right? Like, it's interesting how at first he sort of paints himself as the hero, right? Like the good guy, but he knows the whole time that it's a facade, right? So to me, that's saying that Walter sees the good that he's done as a facade. Like, it's not who he actually is, it's who he's trying to present himself to be to the world. Like, it's a fake facade, and I've said facade 800 times. Anyway, and who he actually is in his mind, again, because he made himself the villain of this story, is someone who steals children's dreams and replaces them with nightmares and leaves a trail of damaged kids and shattered innocence, was what Peter said, right, in his wake. And I do think it's good for Walter to reflect on what he did in the name of science. I've talked about in the past how hard it hit me, the episode where we realize how young Olivia was when she was being experimented on, and how young all of these kids were, and the lack of consent, the inevitable trauma. I mean, we've seen what has happened to most, at least a good portion of the other kids that Olivia went to school with, and their lives were irreparably damaged and forever changed by what Belle and Walter put them through. And so I think that in a way it's good that Walter is aware that he did leave a trail of damaged kids and shattered innocence in his wake, and that he is holding himself responsible for that. But at the same time, because I love Walter, and because I think that he has changed and he has become a different person, I don't want that to be who he like the entirety of what he thinks of himself. I don't want him to think that all the good that he does is just a facade, and who he is at his core is this person who hurts people and hurts Peter. I thought it was really interesting, the metaphor of Peter stole his heart, and without it he will die, because I think that for Walter that metaphor is obviously much more symbolic than literal, like it was in the story. I think that Peter is Walter's heart. He's such a big part of it. He's almost all of it, everything that Walter is and loves kind of exists within Peter. And for Walter, losing Peter is like losing his heart. And the only way that he'll ever get it back is for Peter to come back and to forgive him, to love him, to decide that he wants to pursue a relationship with him again. And so I really liked that aspect of the storytelling. And I also like the twist that Walter took Peter's heart because I think that it's also an awareness of, it's obviously also symbolic of Walter taking Peter. And I think it's also symbolic of the awareness that Walter has that he broke Peter's heart, and that any sort of road forward that they're going to take together has to involve him making amends and in some way healing Peter's heart. Because while Peter is the physical embodiment of his heart, like the quote that once you become a parent, your heart, exists outside of your body, walking around and stuff. I feel like that's kind of what this is symbolizing. Peter is the physical embodiment of Walter's heart because he loves him, and he is, like I already said, he's the embodiment of that, right? But there's also an acknowledgement that what Walter did to Peter was unfair and hurtful, and that there needs to be what's the word I'm looking for? Not reconciliation. I mean, yes, a reconciliation, but like reparations, I guess, for that. Like, he has to make it up to Peter, and that's the way that they'll move forward. I did love Ella changing it to a happy ending because Walter sees what he did as unforgivable, and he thinks that there's no way that Peter will forgive him. No matter what he does, Peter will walk away like he did in the last episode. But I think that eventually Peter will come back. I do. And so I like Ella's ending of, he split the heart in two, and because there was enough love that they could both survive on it. It's a compromise, right? And I think that is going to be the only way forward, is they're going to have to look at each other for everything that both of them are, realize the ways that they've hurt each other, make amends, reconcile that in their own minds and their own hearts, and figure out a way that they can go forward knowing everything that they know. And that's going to be the only way that this is going to work from now on, is complete honesty and transparency in their interactions with each other and in their own minds and hearts, knowing that they both chose to give each other another chance. That was a lot of rambling. I'm sorry, you guys, but I really loved the symbolism of the whole story, all of it. I love Olivia, and it's interesting because, like I said, I do think that this is from Walter's point of view, so it would be really interesting to see the characters from their own points of view. But I thought that Astrid taking care of people and taking care of going to her job, or going for the job interview, sorry, I cannot talk today, and saying they need love and wanting to be that person for them, I think is definitely indicative of Walter feeling like Astrid takes care of him and loves him and gives him a sense of family as well. And I really love that, because I think that she does, and I think that Astrid does care for Walter, and I think that she does view him and their little ragtag misfit family as that, a family. And so I really liked her being included in that. And she also looked stunning, gorgeous, as always. Everyone in this episode looked amazing. Peter in that outfit, chef's kiss. Olivia in her outfit, fucking chef's kiss, Like, I'm here for it. They looked stunning and gorgeous, and all I wanted was to stay there forever. No, but honestly, like, they just looked perfect. Anyway, sorry. That's beside the point. What else did I have? I thought it was interesting that Walter's interpretation of why Olivia takes the cases that she takes is because they have to do with true love and her heart and everything. And I do think that obviously he met Olivia because she was trying to figure out a way to save John Scott. That's his name, right? I think so. Anyway, she was trying to find a way to save him. And so their first interaction was her doing everything in her power to save the person that she loved. And then sort of being damaged by that. And I think that her heart is her guide. She leads with emotion, and that is her strength because she gives a shit. You know, I think that oftentimes in media, women who give a shit are portrayed as being weak due to that. Yet I love that in Fringe, she is portrayed as strong because of that. Because I do think that emotion and caring about people is a huge strength. And I think Olivia is literally the embodiment of that. And I love that Walter sees her heart and the fact that she kind of wears it on her sleeve a little bit, even though she is so guarded, as her strength and something that is a good thing, right? Because, like I said, it's just often portrayed the other way. But I adore that Walter sees it, and the audience, I think, is supposed to see it as one of her most amazing qualities, right? And I love that she is a very feeling and emotional and loving character, even though she is guarded and she does have walls up because, you know, trauma, a lot of it. However, that doesn't stop her from displaying emotion and being vulnerable. And I think that's a really beneficial quality for a lead character to have. I think it makes her much more easy to access for the audience, right? As does Peter, you know. I think we see all of these characters actually, like Walter shows a tremendous amount of emotion, and I think that that's really beautiful, as does Peter, even though Peter is much more reserved in his emotion. And I think that he is definitely much more reserved in his emotion around Walter, whereas around Olivia and other people, mostly Olivia, we've seen it, but also with, you know, certain victim characters like the teenage girl that had a crush on him in season 1. We see his soft side, which he doesn't really show to Walter as much, because I think that he started to let his guard down, but it was because, you know, he had built that wall up for so long. Anyway, I'm getting off subject, but I really liked the Peter and Olivia in this episode, and I think that it's really cute that Walter kind of sees them as the embodiment of true love. And you guys know my little shippery heart is loving it. I was living for it. I was so here for it. I loved it. And I like that they kind of alluded to the little bit of Peter and Rachel that we saw in season 1, that I was like, no, not here for it. You know that. I think the fact that they kind of alluded to that and then immediately dismissed it made my little heart happy. That's all. Thank you. Anyway, what else? Ella calling Walter Uncle Walter, cute as fuck. Love it. Here for it. Obsessed. I think it's interesting that in Walter's interpretation, Nina Sharp and William Bell were in love and trying to get back to each other. I think that's an interesting thing. Like, I wonder if, because I had wondered previously if that was the case, but Then there was definitely some interesting stuff with her and Walter that caused me to question things. I'm curious if that's actually the truth of it, is that they were together, or if that's just Walter's interpretation of what's going on there, and it's not actually the truth of what's going on there. I'm curious to find out. As always, it was amazing to hear Leonard Nimoy's voice for a little bit and to see like kind of a cartoonization of him. You know, I love Leonard Nimoy. I'll learn to talk at some point, guys. Not today, but at some point. I think the last couple things I want to talk about is, one, I don't remember learning the Observer's name ever, but in this episode, Nina called him Gemini, which, is that just like a code name? Because Gemini is like the twins, right? And he's one of multiple Observer people. I don't know. I can't remember if I know we learned that guy August's name. Wait, we did learn his name, didn't we? Fuck, I don't remember it. I feel like we learned the Observer's name. You guys, this is why I can't take breaks from watching the show, ever. Anyway, the last thing that I want to talk about regarding the Observer is, what the fuck? Did I forget something else? Because he said that the boy wasn't back yet, and Walter wasn't listening to his warning, and what was his warning? I forgot. I fucking forgot. Like, I can't, it was probably really important, and I just forgot. All I remember is shit's about to happen, and Olivia was unaware of it. I remember Peter being super important. I just don't remember a specific warning that he had, and it's frustrating. I'm gonna have to try to go back and figure out what he's talking about. I'm kind of mad at myself because I feel like I should know, and then I'm like, what was his warning? I don't remember. Anyway, I have rambled at you guys for far too long. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. You can also watch the next episode right now over on Patreon, which will be linked in the description down below, as well as my entire full-length reaction to this episode and every episode thus far of Fringe. You can find that on Patreon as well. I've only got 3 episodes, I think, of the season left, so a little nervous, a lot excited. I hope to see you guys next time for more noir steampunk French. I wish, but I don't think so. Anyway, until next time. Bye, guys.